Morning children, today's date is 21st September and the year is 2021. Today's day is Tuesday, and in literacy I am going to introduce to you the three parts of any story. Okay, so every story has three parts. It's called the beginning, the middle and the end. So today I'm going to introduce you the three parts in the story The Gingerbread Man. Now, literacy class, we are going to be discussing parts of a story. So we have been doing this story named The Gingerbread Man. Yes, so you heard the story and then you drew a story map, yes, based on the story, and you also did picture sequencing based on that story. Yes, you arrange the pictures in the correct order, in the correct sequence. Yes. So today we are going to learn what are parts of a story. Yeah, let it be any story. They have three parts. Yes. A story majorly consists of three parts. Now, what are those three parts? The first is the beginning of the story. Then is the middle of the story, and then we have the end of the story. Yes? So now if someone asks you what are the parts of a story, any story that you read can be divided into three parts. Yes? The beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. Yes? So now we are going to also study based on the story of the Gingerbread Man. Yes, then we will discuss, after understanding what is the beginning, middle and end, we will then sort out from the story that what part is the beginning, what part was the middle of the story, and what part from the story of the Gingerbread Man was the end of the story. Okay, but before we discuss that, we have to understand what is the beginning, what is the middle, and what is the end of the story. Now let us see what all is included in the beginning of a story, in the middle of a story, and at the end of a story. Yeah, how the three parts are divided. So in the first part, that is the beginning of the story, yes, that is the first part of the story, the writer introduces the main character of the story. Yes, so the main characters of the story is introduced in this part, and also the setting is introduced. Yes, what's the setting? Setting is the place where the story is taking place. Yes, is the story taking place in a palace, or is the story taking place in a village? Yes, or is it taking place in a forest? So that's the setting, the place where the story is taking place. Yes. So these are the two main things that are introduced at the beginning of the story. Yes, the main character is introduced, and the setting, the place is introduced where the story is happening. Yes, and this is a very important part of the story. Right? Because if the beginning of the story is good, yes, then only will you want to read the story further. Yes. So this part has to be made interesting. This is a very interesting part of the story. Then coming to the next one. Yes, so first part of the story is the beginning of the story. The second one is the middle part of the story. Yes. Now it is here where the bulk of the story rests. Yes, the major part of the story is shared here. Some very major details of the story is shared in this part. Yes, and in this part all the other characters of the story are also introduced. So the main character is introduced in the beginning, and all the other characters, the small characters of the story, are introduced in the middle part of the story. Yes, and in most of the stories, the problem that happens in the story is discussed in this part. Yes. So what has the problem that has occurred in the story? What is the problem that happens? Yeah, the main part of the story is discussed in the middle part of the story. Yeah? So this is like the major chunk of the story is in the middle part. So if you just hear the beginning and the end of the story, you will not understand anything. So this is like the main part of the story. Yeah, the main part of the story where the problem is discussed. It happens in the middle part of the story. Yeah? And then comes the end of the story. There's the beginning of the story. Then we have the middle part, a very important part of the story, yeah, where the major part of the story is discussed. And then we have the end of the story. Now, this is the part where the story comes to a close. Yeah. So what happens in the closure of the story? The problem that has been discussed in the middle part gets solved. Yeah? So how the problem is solved is discussed at the end of the story. Yeah? This part of the story shares the conclusion. That's the ending part, the closure of the story. Yeah? And it also, in most of the times when the problem is discussed, the end part shares the solution to the problem. Yes? And this is also a very interesting part of the story, because this is where, it either has a happy ending or a sad ending. Yeah? And if the ending of the story is happy, we all feel so satisfied and happy ourselves after reading the story. And if the ending of the story is sad, we also feel sad, isn't it? Yes, so this is also a very important part of the story, the ending. We all love to listen to stories which have happy ending, isn't it? Yes? So these are the three main parts of the story. The beginning, the middle, and the end. Remember these three parts of a story with the help of a sandwich. Yes, you all eat sandwich? Yes, so what happens in a sandwich? So you have two pieces of bread, two slices of bread, and then you have some filling in between. Yeah, some veggies or some mayonnaise and butter. Yes, that is where do you put it? At the top of the sandwich or in the middle of the sandwich? In the middle. Yes. So what happens is, this is the first slice, the top slice, and that's called the beginning of the story. And the bottom slice is the end of the story. Yes. And the middle part, all the filling that you put in your sandwich is the middle part. That's the middle of the story. That is a very important part, isn't it? If I just give you two slices of bread, is it a sandwich? No, it's not a sandwich. You need some filling inside, isn't it? Yeah? That is why the middle part of the story is one of the most important part of the story. Yeah? Almost the entire story rests in that part. Yes, so this is easy to remember with the help of a sandwich. The top slice is the beginning of the story. The middle, or the filling part, is the middle part of the story. And the bottom part, the bottom slice is the end of the story. So the three parts of a story are the beginning, the middle, and the end. So children, we just discussed that every story has three parts. Yes, a story is divided into three parts: the beginning, the middle, and the end. So now let us discuss the beginning, the middle, and the end from the story The Gingerbread Man. Okay, so this is the title of the story, The Gingerbread Man. Now let us discuss the beginning of the story. We all know the story. Yes, so we are just going to divide that which part will come in the beginning, which part of the story will go in the middle part of the story, and which part will come at the end. Okay, so here is the beginning of the story, where the character is being introduced, and the setting is being introduced. So who is the character here? the main character is being introduced. The main character in the story here is the gingerbread man. Yes, and what is the setting? The setting is of a village, a small house in a village where an old woman and an old man were staying. Yes, so that's the setting. So the story here was, the story started, this is the beginning part of the story, wherein the old woman is baking the gingerbread man. Yes, so she's rolling the dough, yes, and then she made some eyes, and she made the buttons, yes, the mouth, the nose, and then she laid him on the tray and put him in the oven. But from inside the oven, the gingerbread man winked at her. Yes, and then she got him out of the oven, and as soon as he came out of the oven, he started to run. Yes, and the woman was shouting, the old woman was shouting to stop him. But the gingerbread man shouted instead and said, what was the refrain that he was saying? Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I am the gingerbread man. Yes, so that was the beginning of the story. Yes. Now comes the middle part of the story. Now from here onwards, all the other characters in the story, these are some small characters of the story. The main character is the gingerbread man, which has been introduced in the beginning part of the story. And now in the middle part, all the other characters of the story will be introduced. Yes, and the problem will also be discussed. What was the problem? What was the problem? Here, the problem was that the gingerbread man was just running and no one was able to stop him. Yes, that was the problem. Everybody was trying to catch hold of the gingerbread man, but no one was able to catch him. No one was able to stop him from running. Yes, so the first person who was trying to stop the gingerbread man was the old lady. Yes, then here comes the second one who was trying to stop the gingerbread man, the old man. Yes, and then there were some children who were playing in the playground. They tried to stop the gingerbread man, but he wouldn't stop. Yes, then there was a cow named Fran. Yeah, she tried to stop the gingerbread man, but did the gingerbread man stop? No, he kept on running and he kept on shouting the song that he sings. Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I am the gingerbread man. And then there was this horse. Yes, he was nicely eating bran. But when he saw that all of these people, the old woman, the old man, the children, the cow, were running behind the gingerbread man, when he tried to stop the gingerbread man, but the gingerbread man kept on running. Yes, and all these other people were running behind gingerbread man to catch hold of him. And then there was this dog called Dan. He was nicely chewing bone. When he saw all these people running behind the gingerbread man, yes, so even he tried to stop the gingerbread man, but the gingerbread man wouldn't stop. Yes, so who all are running now? The old woman, the old man, the children, the cow, the horse, and the dog. Yes, everyone's running behind the gingerbread man. And then there was this nice little cat who was nicely asleep. Yeah, she was sleeping on the van. But as soon as she heard all this commotion, all this noise, she woke up. And she saw that all of these people are running behind gingerbread man to stop him. So even she tried to stop the gingerbread man. But the gingerbread man kept on running. Yes. So these were the middle part of the story, wherein the old woman, the old man, the children, the cow, the horse, the dog, and the cat, all of them are trying to stop the gingerbread man. Yeah, but no one is able to catch him. And now comes the end part of the story. Yeah, so this is the ending of the story. At the end of the story, the gingerbread man is stuck, yeah, at the side of the river, because now he wants to cross the river and he needs some help. And who do you think came there to help the gingerbread man? Yes, a nice fox or a cunning fox? A cunning fox came there. So this is the last character in the story. Yes, the cunning fox. Yes. And fox was so cunning, he wanted to actually eat the gingerbread man, not help him. So he tried. He made the gingerbread man feel that he's helping him to cross the river, but actually he was making his way to his stomach actually, yeah. First he made the gingerbread man sit on his tail, then on his back, then on his head, and then finally on his nose, and then into his mouth. Yes? So this way, that was the end of the gingerbread man. And what happened? That was a sad part, yeah, sad ending, but something nice came up at the end. At the end, the old woman again baked a gingerbread man the very next day. Yes, and hopefully this gingerbread man was good. This gingerbread man wasn't running and shouting. Yes, so that was the end of the story.